Welcome to Privet Palm Beach Presents, bringing you everything Palm Beach. Coming to you from our active storefront studio in the exciting new Nora District. This week brings us Perfectly Palm Beach with host Janie Chase. Be sure to stay tuned for the weekly Privet update at the end of this episode. We're just getting started, so subscribe, follow, like, and share our multiple channels. You can find Perfectly Palm Beach candles and diffusers at local stores including Lily Pulitzer, Hive, and at perfectlypb.com. The perfect Palm Beach gift.
Hi everybody and welcome to Perfectly Palm Beach. I'm your host Janie Chase, and today in the studio we have Bill Richards of McBournie Richards Designs and Marla Mullen of Marla Mullen Designs. They are both the co-chairs of Nantucket By Design. I'm so excited to welcome them to the studio today because I love talking about interior design. It's a fantastic event that happens on Nantucket in association with the Nantucket Historical Society. And they're going to fill us in on all of it and how they've gotten the ball rolling on such a successful event. So, hi guys, welcome to Perfectly Palm Beach.
Hi. Hey, good morning. Hey, it's great to see you. It feels like it's just been a minute since we saw you in Palm Beach.
I know, exactly, you guys. Time goes by quickly. So
we've gone from palm trees to hydrangeas. It's
and we had things to tell you in Palm
good.
Beach. We couldn't tell you then, but today we're here to talk about some of those things. Marla?
Great.
Yes.
So fill us in on all the secrets, guys.
all the secrets. So last time that we saw you, I feel like we weren't able to kind of fill in some of the gaps of the week. So the event is still running, over the 4 days from July 14th to the 18th. And we have a packed schedule of what I believe is about 12 scheduled events that includes panels and opening party and closing parties and lots of fun things in between. All of our sponsors and different panelists are doing, a lot of interesting things in between each of the panels. So there will be a lot of fun social stuff going on for everybody to participate in. But the biggest news that we weren't able to share when we were down under the palm trees was...
We need a drum roll.
So our keynote speaker this year will be Martha Stewart. And I just have to say one thing. It's a good thing.
It's a good thing. I love Martha. I co-hosted Martha Stewart's morning show on Sirius for 3 years. And I love her. She's awesome. She's really fantastic. So what a great get. And she's so friendly and warm and fabulous and has, every hack, every detail that goes into gardening and designing and landscaping of anybody I know. So what a great
It's funny
get.
You're saying gardening, designing, landscaping. It's everything. And
it's everything.
I can't think of someone in current day who for so long has touched everyone in some part of their lives.
I agree. There's nothing she can't do. I mean, you can find gardeners that don't know how to make a souffle.
Right. Exactly.
She
could probably make a souffle in the garden.
Yeah, she could. Exactly, Marla. So
driving the tractor.
Right, exactly. So, and she looks so good up on that tractor. So tell us, you guys, about Nantucket By Design. How did this all come about? And you both have grown it to such a beautiful, successful event that people are coming from all over the country. So share with us all of that.
So the history of Nantucket By Design, Nantucket By Design didn't officially start as Nantucket By Design until after we had been doing something for a couple of years. There had been, a dinner and a panel that was sort of an adjunct to the antique show. Mm-hmm. And then, 12, 15 years ago?
I think it was around 2016 was sort of when you could see that the panel was becoming really popular and it was, starting to sell out a lot quicker and people were showing a lot of interest in this sort of like ancillary idea outside of antiques, right? Okay, so you go buy an antique. How do you use it? How do we decorate a room? How do we could see that there was this trend and interest in that. And so then we started to just add, I think the first year it was maybe 2 days or a day and a half. So we added a couple of panels. And then really in the last 3 years, I would say it was about 3 years ago or 4 years ago, is when we really spread it out across a couple of days. And
Right
then
as we came out of COVID, I think.
as soon as we came out of COVID, everybody sort of held on tight because we had this great concept that was taking off. And then as everybody experienced, things sort of shut down, and it was sort of a bummer, and it slowed down. So
Right.
once everybody was back and able to socialize, we sort of took it as an opportunity to really expand. And now, we have this event over 4 days that really crosses into so many different sectors and parts of design. It's not necessarily just about interiors. It's how, interiors talks to fashion, and fashion talks to, it's become really interesting. And I think has allowed for all different kinds of people to come to the event. You don't have to be a designer anymore.
Exactly.
You can be an enthusiast, or you could just be interested in one or two of the topics, right? So
but it just seems like you guys are really connecting the dots for so many people. So you're kind of giving something to everybody, and you've done it on Nantucket and Palm Beach, right? So are there plans to do it other places?
Well, we popped up in Greenwich this year.
Oh, you did?
We had a small pop-up in Greenwich, but we're hoping to expand our presence there next year.
Oh,
Then
good.
we're
I
also
didn't know
looking
that.
at
Fun.
Charleston.
Okay.
Yeah, we're looking at Charleston, maybe New York. We think New York's a great place for us. There's a lot of people that are transient friends that are coming in from New York too. That's a big one.
The other thing I think that helped change this too is a few years ago, there was a decision made to focus more on commercial sponsorship. So when you're doing an event that's a couple of days, you can find a sponsor who is enthused enough to be willing to basically have a panel where all they get to do is look at the backs of people's head while they pay attention to whatever speaker you brought in.
Right.
Well, when we went more commercially sponsored, we focused on creating opportunities for the speakers to engage more, not the speakers, the sponsors to engage more specifically with the participants.
Mm-hmm.
So you saw more luncheons, more dinners, more, like McKinnon Harris typically takes people out on a boat. But the sponsors
it's
created
interactive. It's more interactive.
Which I think changed the dynamic a little bit and made it, I think there's a lot to be learned, but I think it also made it a lot more fun.
Yeah.
So tell us, you guys, give us a couple of highlights for this week that's coming up.
Ooh. Okay.
Something that's scheduled, a couple little things that are kind of.
So we actually, one of the interesting things that we did too this year in trying to just keep it interesting, keep it different, is we did change a couple of venues, which is kind of fun. So that's a big change for us. We're doing our opening party at the Nantucket Hotel, and we're doing one of our panels at Beachside. So we're kind of trying to mix up locations a little bit, which has just been redone. And this is really their side we're talking about. This is their first real full summer being open, and they did a beautiful job. And actually, one of the builders is actually sitting on a panel. So that will be really fun. So you can hear a little bit about the backstory of Beachside. So then we've got a fun fashion one on Monday.
The hotel, can I just, one thing on the hotel thing, it's kind of interesting too, because Nantucket has a huge history of resort hotels. The NHA actually has a book that's available to people who want to pursue it that talks about all these hotels and, where they were and how they functioned and what ultimately happened to them. So it's fun to see these new hotels come in and that history sort of continue on.
Tell some more stories about the island.
Exactly. Yeah. People love that stuff. Of course.
People love that stuff. And there's a lot of history at the Nantucket Hotel. It's seen many different iterations.
Has a lot of iterations.
Yeah.
I've had drinks at a lot of those iterations.
So that's a good one. And one of the things we changed that's new and different is we also, just to keep it interesting and fun and different, is that we kind of moved some things around, and we have our luncheon is now on Thursday on the last day.
For a really fun reason. What we found last year with all these activities and the day and night things, by the time we got to the last day, people were tired. They wanted to sleep in. So we had some great panelists on that last day, but the attendance was a little off. But I think it was because everybody had too much fun.
Right.
So what we decided to do was move the luncheon to the last day so people can sleep in,
come to lunch.
And come to lunch and then, stroll around in the afternoon and then come to the closing party.
Yeah. Sounds like fun, guys. So I can describe what Palm Beach style is. To me, it's effortless elegance. How would you guys describe Nantucket style? Because both of you are interior designers that have a lot of projects there. So explain to everybody kind of what your vision and what your design explanation is of Nantucket style.
We're sitting in Bill's beautiful house on Nantucket.
Yes,
which,
that's a perfect example of it.
right?
Yeah.
It's such
Yes.
a perfect example. That's
It
why I'm like,
is.
oh,
It's funny. It's funny because
cool.
Gary and I were just chit chatting about this the other day. What makes Nantucket style different from Palm Beach or Santa Barbara or wherever else you might
Yes,
be?
exactly.
There's a couple of basic factors. One, the light here is very specific. It's very clear, so that the choice in color palette, the blues are a little bit stronger. More clearer colors as opposed to maybe on the West Coast things are dusty, or maybe in Palm Beach, the history down there has a different narrative. So you're seeing more pink and green, green obviously, but you see the pinks and fuchsias and those kind of colors. Whereas
It's so
Nantucket
true, Bill. Yes.
you look outside and the color, you want to bring those colors in.
Yeah.
It's the dune grasses, it's the sand, it's the blue sky,
Yes.
it's a bit of the sunset red kind of thing. And then you infuse that with its nautical history, and red, white, and blue jumps out.
Just jumps out.
It's
It does. I know.
the architecture here is different too.
Right.
Yeah.
People are designing around their spaces,
I mean-
right? And there's a lot of beautiful historic homes. And even people that are building new homes are still trying to do it with, some historical reference, right? They're still wanting to bring in that beautiful old
So
mantle or
nice.
that beautiful wood beam and
Exactly.
not, so which we love about being on Nantucket.
And then with the exteriors, we do have a board.
That's true.
That regulates what the exteriors of the buildings look like. So
Right.
it does
Great-
keep the
our great lady
island.
shingles.
Yeah, it does keep the island,
Very uniformed.
Very
yeah,
uniform.
and the ability to retain its heritage, so it doesn't
Yes.
turn thing vanilla. It remains very specific.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's very obvious. The legacy lives on, which is really important. But I do love
I do have to say something about what I have found very interesting about Nantucket and kind of like what is considered like a design trend here. I and maybe you're agreeing with me a little bit. I do see it shifting, and not necessarily in a bad way, but I do see people actually taking more risks with their interiors and actually bringing in more colors and elements that maybe are speaking to another location that they live
love
in.
that.
I've seen that
Yeah.
a lot. People taking more risks with, not necessarily playing in that sort of more traditional Nantucket, nautical, Americana kind of. No, but I love it. But I think that people are actually bringing in
You're
more
giving Bill
elements.
a heart attack. Bill's now having a heart
Don't
attack.
worry, Bill.
Yeah.
I'm not. I just mean they're mixing it, Bill. Bill, stay with me. No, but I think people are mixing it. What I'm saying is I'm seeing more of I think it's interesting. They're taking these old antiques and kind of mixing it in,
Okay,
taking some more chances.
I'm with you on blending.
It's like
more
eclectic. Yeah.
I'm totally with her on blending
And I love it.
contemporary with traditional.
Right.
But I still like to play play in the Nantucket
Yes,
wheelhouse.
you and I love our Nantucket wheelhouse. But I think that's been kind of a fascinating shift, is to sort of see. I think of it more as a reinterpretation. These kinds of things don't scare me. I mean, I'm the daughter of antique dealers and upholsterers. I mean, that is my background in my life. I'm very much connected to it.
Right.
But I always like, and I think this is what's fun about design, is seeing how people reinterpret those things. And that's probably a better way of saying it. I see people coming in and taking a little bit more risks and reinterpreting it, story, and it's kind of fun.
But a good example of that would be Hilary Annapol. She's a local weaver. She's known for making great rugs, woven rugs.
Yes.
So you can take a technique like that, but then you can use fresher colors. So if you were doing a children's room or a family room or something, and you didn't want to just do blues and greens or whatever,
Right.
you want to do something more fun, she can amp it up, but you're still retaining the heritage of the practice, which is kind of cool.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I like that, you guys.
I've seen some fun things going on.
A lot of places like that are kind of changing, but change is good. Change is good. It brings in
it's okay.
a fresh perspective, and it takes, places that we've loved for so long to the next level. And we just have to continue to love them as they grow, right? It's like our children.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then we all mourn those certain things that have disappeared. It's that favorite
Exactly.
restaurant we used
I
to go
know.
to, that shop, whatever it might be.
It's true. It's true. Well, Nantucket by Design is a very exciting event. I know a lot of people on the island are excited. I'm very excited to come for it. I think you guys have really done a great job at your scheduling and programming and all the panelists, and you're keeping it fresh, and there are lots of new voices and people this year. I think it's really going to be great, guys. So kudos to you and to the Nantucket Historical Association.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned the Nantucket Historic Association, because I think sometimes in these design events, the beneficiary of the proceeds sort of gets lost. We are the biggest fundraiser for the Nantucket Historic Association.
Which is really so great. I mean, look, living in a place like Palm Beach full time, and I did spend 15 summers on Nantucket, I know that the history of those places sometimes get lost. By people that are, that are coming there, and their interest is not exactly, based in the past. So I think it's really important to give a nod to all of those places. So clapping for the Nantucket Historical Association. Everybody buy their tickets. And where can everybody get tickets that are left, you guys, for?
We have our own website now. This also is a big change since the last time we talked, right? I mean, I think
it was just happening.
I don't think we had announced it at the time. So it's nantucketbydesign.com. Look at us.
That's easy. Good for you guys.
Yeah, you can read everything about the event on the website, just what's going on every single day. You can read about the background of the NHA, and then there's links to what tickets are available. We're probably about 80% sold out, but there are a few, and I would say we're about we have about less than a quarter of tickets left on certain panels, but so there's still some things available. So go online, join us.
We will, guys.
Then when people come to the island too, the exhibit at the Nantucket Historic Association this year is called Behind the Scenes.
Oh, good.
And it's look at the history of fashion and textile. And it's a very living exhibit, because it may take you to way back when there were sheep on the island, and we're using our own wool, et cetera, et cetera. But then an experiment where Nantucket has tried to grow silk and make silk through growing mulberry trees.
Wow, fascinating.
We look at Nantucket looms and how tillet was created. So it brings it right up to the present. And I think
love it.
There's something interesting for everybody.
Yeah, I love that, you guys.
Island, it's worth the stroll.
Yeah, I love that. Well, we look forward to seeing you guys really soon. And again, everybody, it's nantucketbydesign.com. Make sure you also have a look at McBournie Richards and Marla Mullen Designs, as they're hardworking interior designers, and they are doing this for volunteer and because of their love of Nantucket and design. So let's support them too. So thanks so much, guys, for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I'll see you guys really soon. Okay, bye.
Here are Privet Picks of the Week. Recommendations for Palm Beachers by Palm Beachers.
Did you know there's a new restaurant in town? The new Cafe Drift is family owned and located in the previous pastry heaven spot next to the Palm Beach Historical Inn. Offering coffee, pastries, sandwiches, salads, smoothies, and more, you have to check it out. Privet tip: you must get the chocolate chip cookie.
What's a better activity for the whole family than something that's both fun and educational? Science and Sunshine with Cox Science Center happens every second Friday of the month from 2 to 4 p.m. at City Place. Enjoy interactive themed demonstrations that will leave everyone leaving with some type of new knowledge. A healthy lifestyle just became more affordable at Amici Market. Enjoy Happy Juice Hour. Every weekday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., enjoy half-off juices, shots, and smoothies. The perfect way to start your day. Privet Palm Beach Presents is a production of Privet Studios and is available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify platforms. You could reach out to us on Instagram at Privet Palm Beach and at theprivet.com. Thanks to the Privet Studios team, including Summers Laffey, Will Cannon, our friends at Mass Inbound, and music by Kevin MacLeod.